Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? We are back to doing our Saturday live Q&As. We've been off for 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, obviously, I was still dealing with the loss of Jimbo. Thank all of you for the support and nice words you sent over to Olivia and I. We greatly appreciate it. And then last weekend, I attended Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within, UPW, I think they call it. So I was out for a couple of weeks, but we are back at it. As always, I've come to this with a series of 5 or 6 questions. I will go through those first and then hopefully answer all of your questions. I am prepared to go till 9 a.m. Pacific. I will go until there's no questions. So if you have questions you want to ask, start typing them in. Hopefully we'll get a bunch there, and then I will just scroll to the top and we'll try to answer all of them. So again, this is for you. Happy to answer any question. Thank you for the support. Thank you for watching the channel. If you like this, feel free to subscribe, ask others to join. We really are creating a movement here. No clickbait, just original content every day. Multimillionaires talk to you Monday through Friday. Daily financial news. Kind of feels like we're doing some good work. Talked to 2 students yesterday to really see what they get. Went through a list of 10 questions. Do me a favor, look at those videos from yesterday. I was left thinking, you know what? All this effort is paying off, which is really good to see. So that's what I got for you today. Why don't we just start with the question? First question I'm going to go over, I got a couple weeks ago actually, and that is why not multifamily today. Apparently in some of my older videos, I talk about, I think single family is the place to be. I don't think multifamily is the place to be today. Bigger is better is a great marketing slogan, but as somebody who owns apartments, there are sometimes they are not the best asset. And today, from all practical purposes and from my talks across the country, apartments where a lot of the stress is. It's where a lot of the kind of cancel rent thing is going on. There's a lot of landlords hurting in small apartment buildings. And single family is on fire. People want out of Class A. They want to get into space. Prices are rising, as I'm sure you have seen across the country. And that just means not as many people can afford it. Affordability is dropping. And what will happen next, because again, I have 20 years experience here, is rents are going to go up. So if you own affordable single family homes, you're likely going to have a couple of really nice years. First off, your debt is fixed. No threat of interest rate rise. You have almost seemingly unlimited demand in today's environment. Your balance sheet is going to go up, right? The value of your home. And then ultimately what you and I care about is cash flow will go up, right? Because rents will rise and your expenses won't rise as fast as rent. So really for me, multifamily, just not the place to be. It's hard today. You can't, and rents are soft in multifamily. I don't know if you realize that, but same area. Rents are not moving in apartments. In fact, vacancies are up, bad debt is up, but houses are jumping 5, 10, 15%. So it's definitely a single family home market. Millennials are definitely driving it. And that's where I want to be. I think multifamily, if you don't know, it has interest rate risk. Ask yourself, where do you think interest rates will be in 3 to 5 years? I think they're going to be higher. If that's obviously a big if, my crystal ball is as good as yours, but if they're higher, what likely means is the cap rate has to go higher. And if you know anything about multifamily or commercial properties, when the cap rate goes up, the price goes down. And I think there's going to be some pain felt in multifamily. So what I'm doing, if you read our book, right behind me, and about 500 more folks bought it this week, just amazing. I It's been a while since that happened. I think it was Dion's talk on Bigger Pockets. So shout out Dion. But what I'm seeing is buy houses now, let houses appreciate over the next 2 to 3 years. And then if you're in a market like I am, where California, where affordability can crash to pretty low levels, maybe it'll be time to 1031. It worked once. We went from 8 to 80 units, no new capital. I think we may get a shot to do it again. And this time we'll go from 40 to 400 or something like that. So that's what we're doing. I think multifamily has a lot more pain today. It's harder to manage. And I think it has interest rate risk that single family doesn't, right? Residential doesn't. So that's why. And then lastly, you have to remember that I talk to lots of people with 0 rentals, and I'm trying to help them get to 4, right? 0 to 1, 1 to 4, 4 to 10. So I spend a lot of time trying to get people to get their first single family home. So that's what I'm trying to do. Next question I get a lot, I might as well just address it here, is where should I invest? And this is probably talking my book, but I believe most folks, where should I invest is the wrong question. I think most of you, right, certainly if you have 0, I think most of you need to learn the skill. I think it is a skill to learn a market. I think you can, with 30 to 60 days of effort, I think you can figure out any market. But you have to get focused. You have to execute daily. It's what I talk about, kind of step 1A and 1B in my course. Because once you figure out average, you can do a good or great deal anywhere, whether that's Beverly Hills, California, New York, Manhattan, or, somewhere else. So I think you need to learn your skill first, and then you can go to, where to invest. Some people ask me, like, there's a secret market nobody's talking about. And that's foolhardy, in my opinion, right? You're going to be spending your time, and usually what I find from people that do that is they spend 2 months looking at city X and then 2 months looking at city Y. They tell themselves they're doing something. They feel good, like they're checking a list, but they don't buy anything because they get all confused. You are too scattered. So that's why focus, step 1, daily execution. Step 2, learn the practice. And, listen to, I believe it was the talk with Nathan and Joanna yesterday. I think it went live at 5 or 6. They talked about, they started in San Diego, then they went to St. Louis. And I think we talked about this. It may have been off recording, but now they're looking at a third market. So they're going to take everything they did to learn St. Louis, and they're going to go do this on a third market. Because once you have that skill, you can deploy it anywhere. So that's a big deal. We talked about this with Anna Kelly. I think it was on Wednesday, the FIRE movement. My thoughts maybe were not clear, so I got a couple questions about that. I think the FIRE movement, again, financial independence, retire early, is sexy. It gets clicks, it gets eyeballs. I think it is a wonderful kind of, journey to. For me, though, it's kind of like a step too far, right? It's like one of those dreams where you're like, oh, that'd be wonderful, right? Having 6-pack abs and, all of that stuff would be great. When you realize you got to watch what you eat and you got to exercise every day, it just becomes, life's too busy. So for me, the FIRE movement it's a great end goal, but I want to talk about a better financial future, right? Let's break it down where you can make steps day 1, year 1, year 2, year 3. And then ultimately with enough progress year to year, you can see and feel the FIRE movement. And in addition to that, while talking with Dion on his channel, we got to talk about the end of the FIRE movement, the R and the E, retire early. Just want to be clear. We retired, or I retired at 45 from my day job, but I certainly don't feel retired. I actually was retired for about 2 weeks after that, and I felt horrible. You get depressed, like you don't feel like you're a contributing member to society. So I had to write a book. I had to start this channel. This channel makes me feel like I'm making progress and I'm helping every day. That's why this channel is here. So again, retire early may just mean you leave the W-2 behind, but you will find another passion. If you don't, 24 hours is you're going to have a lot of self-talk, right? I smiled for 2 days and then I got depressed. That's a horrible feeling. So just realize that retire early may just mean do something else. And then lastly, I got a couple of questions about, hey, you've got 2 courses or 3 courses. What do I do? So I have a free course out there. It's free. It basically introduces you to who I am, where I'm going. I think it doesn't cost you anything. I think it's 3 hours of content. Take it if you want to know more about us. Then I created a course, How to Get Started One Rental at a Time. It's got over 1,000 students. It is the course that we talked to Nathan and Joanna and Roldan about yesterday. It is a wonderful course focused on how to get started, right? How do you learn a market? How do you make daily progress? How do you build a network? What's your why? All of those things. Best thing I've created. And then I added on top of that a private Facebook group for extra value. And actually we'll be talking there at 9 a.m. So that almost goes without speaking, is a great course if you're trying to figure out how to get your first or next property. And then I just released a company that Roldan and I talked about yesterday morning, Get Your Money Right. They're not really, there's not an A and a B. They're kind of stand on their own, but they are our story, right? It's Olivia and I's story. How do we learn Fresno? Everything is in that course, How to Get Started One Rental at a Time. But we had to get our money right first. I've told you plenty of times that we were spending 100% of our income. And it wasn't until we looked at our personal income statement, our personal balance sheet, our needs and wants, that we started to save money. And it's earn, save, invest, repeat. I don't think Get Your Money Right course has gotten the traction that it should. It's mainly because I don't talk about it. I don't do marketing. I haven't even created a video on it yet. So a lot of that's on me. But yeah, they're not connected. It's not like do one and do the other. It's kind of where are you at, right? If you don't have any money for a down payment yet, maybe it's Get Your Money Right. If you're like me, you had a full-time job and you have some savings, well, then it's obviously How to Get Started One Rental at a Time. But I do not think they are, I think they stand on their own. At least that's how I built them. So that's what I have for you today. And then what's the best investment? Again, this is kind of talking my book. So just like I call out all the Wall Street folks, realize that this is what I talk about and teach. So it's probably not worth anything, but I was asked. I think affordable single family homes are the place to be. I think builders can't build them, so supply is shrinking. I think flippers are going in and buying them and remodeling them, raising the standard, so we're losing supply. I think if we've learned anything in this crisis, that space is good, so people would rather rent a home than an apartment. Demand is up. So I think if you're in an area where you can secure them and hold them, I think you're going to be very, very happy. Not to mention 30-year fixed rate debt below 4%. Pretty awesome. So that's what I got for the questions today. Yeah, good enough. Let's scroll to the top and see what kind of questions you have. All right. So Dan Hunter, did you hear FHFA announced March 10th that they are limiting new loans secured by second homes, investment properties, 7% of overall loans they purchase effective April 1? Yes, I did. You have a follow-on question. Suspect that lenders will add substantial cost investment loans. Thoughts? Well, Dan, I did hear about it. I always ask myself, why? What is going on? It kind of feels like behind the scenes, you could almost feel for owner occupants, right? What this is probably going to mean is owner occupant loans will stay low and investment loans will rise. This won't affect all banks. There will be some banks, community banks, banks not selling to FH to the government. But yeah, I think investment loans are about to get more expensive. I really do. If you could lock in an investment loan today in the 3s, probably a good idea. I have seen some chatter out there where some folks were trying to get new quotes, and they're talking about high threes, low fours. So yeah, I think investment loans are about to get more expensive, right, on interest rate. And I think that will affect affordability, and that will affect price, and it may slow appreciation. But yeah, I think it's coming. I certainly think it's coming. Hey, Nathan, how are you? Good morning. Troy, good morning. Tamika, good morning. Oh, look at that. Visiting a new property. I love it. Do you still predict real estate drop drop is coming, or has your attitude changed? I don't know that I've ever said real estate was dropping. In fact, I think I've talked about real estate being up for 2021, probably to mid-year of 2022. I can't see past that if that's what you're referring to, Troy, but I think I've been pretty clear. I don't see real estate falling. And watch Brian Lebo's interview. I think it comes out at noon today, might be 11. Vegas is on fire, even though their unemployment rate is ridiculously high and lots of pain going on. Brian is not seeing a collapse in Vegas. And if Vegas doesn't fall, no place falls. Seriously. If Vegas real estate prices don't fall, no city will fall this year. It's just nuts what Brian talks about here in a couple hours. So yeah, I don't think real estate falls. I think affordable housing is only going to get more expensive. I think being a landlord of affordable housing is going to be a wonderful business for years to come, especially if you have 30-year fixed rate debt. Yeah, I think I've said this lots of times. I'm buying as many single family homes as I can for the next couple of years, because it might be a time to 1031 in 3 or 4 years. That's what I'm thinking. You mentioned that you had to raise your rent 6% due to rent control. With CA rent control, can you not adjust to market rate rents with the tenant moves out? Yeah, Dan, you can absolutely adjust rents if they move out. There's not a lot of move outs going on today, but yes, if somebody moves out, you remodel it, you can raise rents to market, absolutely. But tenant turnover is not what it used to be. It's been pretty slow. But yeah, of course. Yep, you're right. Would house hacking still be probably with the multi homes? Would house hacking? I'm not sure what that question is, but what I think you're asking is, yes, you can house hack, right? So you buy a house, 4 bedrooms, you live in it as your primary for a little while, you rent out the bedrooms. A year goes by, you can do it again. I believe the rules on the loans, you have to talk to your banker, but I think to get an owner-occupant loan, I think you have to have intentions to live there a year. I think it's a year. But yeah, you could do that. I think Joanna talked about yesterday in our talk in the afternoon about how she house hacked in San Diego 2 or 3 different times. So it absolutely is possible. Lots of people do it. My interview on Tuesdays with Matt from New Hampshire, that's all he talks about is house hacking. So yeah, it's possible. Mm-hmm. Hey Reed, I just got a rental home. I'm considering selling it in 2 years. I lived in the home for 2 years, so I don't have capital gains. Should I do that rather than keep as a rental? Reed, that's a personal choice. Folks, if you don't know what Reed is talking about there, because he lived in the home as a owner-occupied primary residence for 2 years, if he sells it within, I think, 3 more years, because I think you have to live there 2 out of 5 years. Talk to your accountant to make sure. You as an individual can get $250,000 tax-free. It's one of the largest loopholes in the tax code, frankly. And if you're married, it can be $500,000. So Reed, it's all about what you tend to do, how much cash flow you're getting, what do you want to hold for